Right now, an update from police on this weekend's homicide in Fitchburg as we learn more about the victim.
And why a planned expansion project at a Madison mental health facility is now temporarily on hold.
Plus, a plane crashes into a cornfield in Greene County. We have a live report from the scene straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
First tonight, we have breaking news from our Channel 3000 Alert Center. Madison police confirm there is an active death investigation right now along East Washington Avenue. The call came in about 4:30 this afternoon near Easttown Mall, near the intersection of Independence Lane. We will continue to follow this story. Stay with News 3 Now for any updates. Students at Verona Area High School are remembering their friend, 17-year-old Shay Watson, who was shot to death this weekend.
Fitchburg police say tonight they haven't made any arrests yet, but there's no additional information at this time. Rose Schmidt joins us live from Lyman Lane, just off Fish Hatchery Road, where the crime scene is still active. Rose?
2 days after Watson was found at this home on Lyman Lane, investigators are still on scene, and there are still many questions as to who killed Watson and why. His friends say they will spend their final year of high school remembering his life and celebrating the impact he had on theirs.
I found out at like 3 in the morning, I think, and then I just did not sleep the rest of the time.
The news of 17-year-old Shay Watson's death traveled quickly through his friend group.
It didn't happen.
But that doesn't make it any easier to deal with.
I still can't believe it, yeah. It doesn't really feel real, I guess.
Raina Briggs and Rachel Parman have known Watson since sophomore year of high school.
We used to hang out every single day after school, every day. It was like Raina, Quan, me, and Shay. Every day. We called ourselves the Connect Four.
They recounted endless games of Fortnite.
We were just all really close.
Going to Watson's football games, and him constantly putting smiles on their faces.
Even if he didn't say anything, he'd make like a stupid face and you'd just die laughing.
I still have text messages from like when I was going through personal things, and it's scroll after scroll after scroll of him just saying, you need to, like, you're better than this, like, keep your head up.
Watson's friends say they want to know who shot him Sunday night in Fitchburg and get justice. But right now they're trying to focus on honoring him in whatever way they can.
He had a great relationship with like everyone he met in his life.
They brought beads to school and made these bracelets celebrating their friend.
He made everybody feel special.
Yeah.
In some type of way.
Blue because that was Watson's favorite color.
He just is so impactful in my life, I know. And like I know many others.
They say they're grateful Verona High School is offering counselors as they spend the first week back to school trying to understand what happened.
It hurts us too because it's like senior year, like we all looked forward to this.
Graduation and other milestones Watson won't be there to witness, but they'll go through it all with him in mind.
This year's definitely for him.
Verona Area High School observed a moment of silence today during fifth period to honor Watson's life. Staff also read a message to students asking them to keep Watson's family and friends in their hearts. Now, details for the funeral and memorial service have not been made at this time, but the school says they will share that information as details become available.
Officers say a man and woman are alert and conscious following a small plane crash in Greene County. That plane went down in a cornfield along County Highway FF between Monroe and Albany.
And that's where Madeline O'Neill is now talking with the sheriff and neighbors tonight. Maddie?
Charlotte and Eric, this is the cornfield where the small four-seater plane crashed just before 12:30 this afternoon. Now, this is about as close as we can get the edge of the cornfield, but the plane is about 50 yards behind me, behind that crime scene tape. According to the Greene County Sheriff, Sheriff Jeff Scatrud, a man and woman had been flying from Rochester, Minnesota when the pilot noticed mechanical problems. And because of those issues, the sheriff says the pilot then planned to land in the nearby Monroe Airport just a few miles from here, but he instead crashed into former Steve Kubley's field. Kubley says he didn't hear or see the crash. Officials say the pilot was able to call 911 himself, and he and the passenger were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Well, I'm much happier that everybody's okay. He was very apologetic about landing in my field, and I said, well, that's the least of, our worries at this point.
You're always feeling grateful when people walk away from a plane crash.
While the pilot and passenger are okay, Scattered says the plane has heavy damage. The sheriff says he's not sure of the plane's original destination, but online flight path data shows a flight from Rochester had been headed to Chicago Midway. Now, the crash investigation is in the hands of the Federal Aviation Administration. They were out from Milwaukee earlier today looking at this. The last major crash in this area happened last June within about 5 miles of here, killing 4 people. The identities of those in today's crash will likely be released later today or early tomorrow. We'll keep you updated online at Channel 3000, and we'll have an update tonight at 10 as well.
All right, Maddie, thank you. Governor Tony Evers announces a major disaster declaration. It's in response to last month's storms. People living in 17 counties are now able to apply for federal disaster assistance, most in the northern half of the state. Those storms started July 18th, ran through the 20th. Hundreds of thousands of trees were down. More than 300,000 customers were without power for days.
Let's check your first alert forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. Gary?
Well, things have been pretty quiet across southern Wisconsin this afternoon. We had a couple of isolated showers and thunderstorms pop up north of Madison, where a few more thicker clouds have built up. You can see the rest of southern Wisconsin enjoying a fair amount of sunshine. There are the showers and isolated thunderstorms. They will die down almost completely right after sunset, and you can see the best chances of seeing any rain will be north of Madison. Some of that rain may not even be reaching the ground, because while temperatures are still in the lower to middle 70s, the dew point temperatures are in the upper 40s to around 50s, so they are near the ground dry. Some of that rain may be evaporating as it reaches the ground. Current wind speeds are about 10 to 20 miles per hour, but we're seeing some stronger gusts up to about 25 miles per hour in a few spots. Temperatures will drop down into the middle to upper 50s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow will be a partly sunny and windy day as well, with a cool high of 72. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thanks. City engineers are traveling to Madison's neighborhoods hit hardest by the flooding last year. They're trying to get a better idea of exactly what they're dealing with.
Today was the first of about 30 focus group meetings where you can have a say in how the city fixes flooding issues long term. Amanda Quintana is here with the details.
It's last year's historic flooding showed us some of the problems in Madison's stormwater infrastructure. As the engineering division works to find a solution, they're asking homeowners what they've seen, along with conducting large watershed studies, looking at the submitted flooding reports online, and hearing from attendees of public information meetings. Engineers are also going out to some of the communities most affected to hear from concerned residents what short-term solutions they've been using at their homes, and what can the city do to help them next time we see flooding.
The August 2018 flooding event really exposed some moments of improvement that we can improve on our stormwater infrastructure, but you know, a lot of these residents have been going through this for years before that. And so we're listening to any and all feedback when it comes to what they've experienced.
They're also reminding people that flooding can happen at any point. So to stay prepared, you should make sure downspouts are far enough away from your foundation. You have a sump pump to keep up with the water, and you know where you are on the floodplain. Engineers will be visiting dozens of other neighborhoods. We have a list of those dates on channel3000.com and how you can request a focus group in your neighborhood if you're not on that list.
An expansion at a youth mental health facility in Madison is being put on a temporary hold while project planners work to address concerns of those living nearby. Amy Reed shows us their worries.
People that live near here say for the most part, Mendota Mental Health Institute has been a great neighbor, but they have some concerns they want to see handled before any expansion here becomes real. There's a lot of things Dan Constein loves.
It's just very
about his neighborhood.
A very ideal place in Madison.
The work being done right next door is one of those.
It's been a really good experience. They've been good neighbors.
He's on board with the new expansion the juvenile facility announced last year, which adds a new building, 50 beds, and more staff. But with growth comes growing pains. Neighbors worry about increased traffic for one, especially where the kids cross the street to get to Mendota Elementary.
Traffic to me would be the biggest concern. As long as the city is able to work with any problems that come up because of that, and regarding stop signs or stop lights, crossing guards, whatever, it seems to me to be an easier fix.
Another worry has to do with the Ho-Chunk Nation land the expansion will be built on. An anthropologist who lives in the area told Plan Commission members last night this land is historic and valuable to the Ho-Chunk Nation. She said the nation's preservation officer didn't even know about the project, and in her formal submitted comment, quote, "This is astonishingly irresponsible on the part of the state, given that Wisconsin tribes are key stakeholders in these developments and should have been full participants in the dialogue from the beginning." The director of Mendota Mental Health Institute didn't get back to us to tell us how or if he'll be adjusting plans to include Ho-Chunk from now on. But the Department of Health Services, which oversees the institute, said it appreciates the concerns raised and they'll continue to work closely with their partners and neighbors going forward. Last night, the Plan Commission gave the facility an extra 60 days to try and change their plan in order to better address the concerns of the neighbors. In Madison, Amy Reed, News 3 Now.
We also reached out to the Ho-Chunk Nation in regards to the expansion, but they did not get back to us. Still ahead tonight, as many of us know, quality sleep can be a rarity at times.
When we come back, how sleep experts at the UW are making sure even space explorers are getting the best sleep possible.
So maybe it's work stress, screens, family obligations, whatever the reason, quality sleep eludes a lot of us.
But there are scientists here in Madison working to make sure, whether it's a full 8 hours or not, that we're getting the best sleep possible. Danica Lewis is here to explain. Danica?
Well, the Wisconsin Institute for Sleep and Consciousness is working on an option for the masses that doesn't just regulate sleep, but also makes sure we're optimizing what shut-eye we do get in and out of this atmosphere.
If the science is coming in that there is, that they're able to, optimize our sleep a little bit, I think that's very cool.
Greg Kramer is the kind of guy who craves self-awareness, including what factors throw his sleep patterns out of whack.
It takes a little bit of getting used to.
It's why Kramer volunteered to strap on one of these devices before bed, in the comfort of his own home, instead of a lab like this.
Before that, it was sending people home with giant suitcases full of electrodes, transponders on their beds.
Researchers Stephanie Jones and Brady Riedner have been developing this headband for the last decade.
The brain is not totally offline. It's actually taking in information and it's taking in external signals from the outside world.
In collaboration with Philips, the device tracks and enhances what's known as slow wave sleep.
And that's kind of where the business of sleep gets done. So when you feel refreshed in the morning, that's usually correlated with the amount of slow wave sleep you've had.
They've discovered that audio and algorithms can help.
Here you've got earphones, which basically slide right over the ears. And
tones can sync up those slow waves in our brains and get us into a deeper sleep. So far, the Wisconsin Institute for Sleep and Consciousness has tested out the theory on older adults, like Kramer, one of the populations that has the most difficulty getting to that sleep sweet spot.
Those slow waves that we're talking about just aren't as prominent.
But this device these could also have implications for people who have to be in top form at all hours, no matter how much or how little sleep they've had. It's why NASA is funding a study to see if the headbands could help
25 seconds into flight.
in space.
We're talking about an astronaut population that's very healthy, that's very active, you know, they sleep well, but they're, you know, restricted on, hey, you need to get up and you need to perform.
For Kramer, it's not just where this research is happening, but what it's finding that's out of this world.
I think it's just unbelievably fascinating territory, and you know, kind of what the kids will be studying in the next generation.
Now, speaking of that next generation, the Institute is also looking to test out the headbands on teenagers later this year. And as parents know, adolescents are biologically predisposed to go to bed later. Add social stresses on top of that, and that phase can be a tough one for short sleeping. But astronauts are just the start here. Think about this. Doctors, men and women in the military, things like that, people who really could benefit from more efficient sleep because they have limited hours, have to be ready to rock and roll at any given point.
Important. I mean, we ideally spend about a third of our lives sleeping.
Right.
Ideally.
And the point is, even if we don't, we want to get the most out of it.
That's right. All right. Interesting. Danica, thank you.
Sure.
Still ahead in sports tonight, the Badgers are just days away from their season opener, a preview of their matchup down at South Florida.
But first, we stay clear the next couple of days, but the breeze moves in. Gary Canalti will have his full forecast when we come back. Gary joins us now, and it was sure nice to see the sun today.
It was, and for most of us, that's all we saw. A couple of people saw a shower or a thunderstorm, but that has been the exception rather than the rule. You can see on Doppler track, there have been a few showers and thunderstorms, mainly up in northern Wisconsin. A couple of them have drifted into parts of southern Wisconsin, but they're very brief and light where they're occurring, and some of this precipitation may not even be reaching the ground because the air near the ground is pretty dry. As we take a look at visible cloud track, you can see those clouds building up a little bit more in the northern part of the state, more space in between the clouds here in southern Wisconsin. Winds, though, have been kind of brisk, generally right now in the 10 to 15 mile per hour range here in Madison, a little bit less than that, but you can see we're also seeing some stronger wind gusts in the 20 to 35 or more mile per hour range in the La Crosse area. That's usually a windy spot to begin with, and we'll probably see similar winds, if not even a little stronger for tomorrow. But the live view from the WISC Skycam shows clear skies overhead and just a few clouds on the eastern horizon. The Edgewater Skycam looking toward the southeast shows mainly clear skies. Again, most of the clouds are in far northern and central Wisconsin. High today 76, the low 60, very close to the average of 78 for the high and 57 for the low. Right now our temperatures at 74 degrees, winds out of the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour. Taking a look at Tropical Storm Dorian, maximum sustained winds right now are 50 miles per hour. It's heading toward the west-northwest, and the latest forecast track will take it near Puerto Rico within the next day or so, with maximum sustained winds near hurricane force. And then depending on how much of an interaction it has with the land, it'll maintain at least tropical storm strength, if not be even a little bit stronger. And then it's forecast to move north of the Bahamas and then kind of curve back toward the west. Latest computer models on Sunday would bring it into the west coast of Florida, but notice the big variation. Anywhere from the Keys to northern Georgia could be a potential landfall, at least according to the latest computer models, and that would be as probably a strong tropical storm or a minimal hurricane. Current temperatures in Wisconsin right now are in the 60s in northern and central parts of the state, mainly mid to upper 70s in southern Wisconsin where there's a little more sunshine. But you can see how the air has really dried out. A lot of 40-degree dew points. So again, those showers are just having a hard time reaching the ground, at least north of Madison. Showers are a little more widespread here, and that's just cold air aloft. Even though the temperatures near the ground are cool, it's very cold aloft, so that makes the atmosphere unstable as the jet stream kind of dips around an area of low pressure in the upper levels. But that also brings in a northwesterly wind flow, and if you're close to the jet stream like we are right now, we're seeing fairly brisk winds, and that'll be the case again tomorrow as a trough of low pressure comes in from the northwest and just kind of reinforces the cool air. So temperatures might be a couple degrees cooler for tomorrow, but with the air being dry, I'm not expecting anything in the way of rain. So for tonight, look for skies to become mostly clear. It'll be a little cooler, low temperature dropping to 56. For tomorrow, look for a partly sunny day. It'll be windy and cool with a high temperature of 72. On future track, look for temperatures to drop into the middle 50s by early tomorrow morning. High temperatures tomorrow afternoon, probably low 70s, again with brisk westerly winds through much of the afternoon. Tomorrow night, the winds will die down. Temperatures will drop into the mid-50s. Notice the wind shift to the southwest, and that'll bring temperatures right back up to around 80 degrees or close to it by Thursday afternoon. Again, a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm late Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. Perhaps another chance of showers from Friday night into Saturday, mainly south of Madison. The rest of the holiday weekend looking dry. Temperatures a little warmer for the middle of next week.
Tony Granato is glad Barry Alvarez is a fan of Badger men's hockey. We'll explain why in sports. Next up for the Packers, the fourth and final preseason game Thursday night at Lambeau Field against the Kansas City Chiefs. They'll kick just after 7 o'clock in Green Bay Thursday. After that, the regular season opener against the Bears in Chicago a week from Thursday. Aaron Rodgers says he and the rest of his teammates are pretty much ready to start the season right now. They're already looking forward to the trip to Soldier Field.
Yeah, I think that's usually what happens. You get a little head start on the week one opponent. You know, it's different this year. Again, playing the first game of the season. Thursday is like a Sunday for us. So the week is obviously shortened, and it's a good time for some extra study this week on Chicago.
Badger football will take off on its first road trip of the season Thursday afternoon. They'll fly to Tampa. They'll face the University of South Florida Friday night at 6 Central Time. Badgers defense was fantastic in 2017, but didn't quite hit those marks last season. But with 6 starters returning on defense this season, Zach Bond says that experience can only help this year's Badger defense.
I think just the experience we bring to the table this year. Last year, like I said before, other young guys just wanted to see the field, get on the field and touch the field and play in front of 80,000 fans and whatnot. And now we're really focusing on just playing better football, team football. So just if we can do that, I think we'll be a good defense.
Badger men's hockey team had its final practice this morning before heading to Canada to play exhibition games against the University of British Columbia this coming Friday and Sunday. Badgers have a young team, but they're loaded with superstar talent that should be one of the most exciting teams to watch in the country this season. And when Tony Granato had a chance to put this Canadian trip together, he went to athletic director Barry Alvarez and told Alvarez about the benefits of letting the hockey team go to Vancouver this week.
So I think we're going to be the only game going on. And for the hockey market and hockey world, that's exciting that we're having the opportunity to kind of kick the season off. So for our program, for college hockey, to kind of show off what we think is going to be a real exciting year for us and kick it off this way, I'm really excited about it and thankful that Coach Alvarez was on the same page as me, thinking this was a good idea.
This week's Prep Mania football game of the week features 2 contenders for the Big 8 Football Conference Championship. Verona's at Middleton. Join Bill Brophy, Alan Minard, and me for Verona and Middleton Friday night, 7 o'clock, channel3000.com. U.S. Open Tennis, 2 of the top grunters in the game, Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova, face off. Yep, Serena won in straight sets, 6-2, 6-4. It's believed grunting in tennis was created by Monica Seles and Jimmy Connors back in the day. One study has suggested that some players, their shots are 5% faster if they grunt when they hit it. Huh. Wouldn't that wipe you out?
Never helped me.
Seems like it burns some energy.
Try it at work, just like when you're working. Just start going.
Yeah, just grunt?
Every verb, grunt. Yeah.
By the way, Mr. Wilson.
Yes?
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
61 of them now, so I'm getting a little tired of this, but well, thank you. You're very kind. Thank you.
The weather wasn't too bad on his birthday?
No, things pretty quiet out there now. A couple of showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly north of Madison, and those are already starting to dry down, fall apart in the dry air. Temperatures right now, low to mid 70s. Dew point temperatures, though, upper 40s, around 50, so the air is very dry near the ground. Winds are a little brisk. Some areas 10 to 20 miles an hour, and we're seeing some gusts up to about 20 to 30 miles per hour, but those will die down too.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here at 10.